Welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, mama, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and embodiment coach. Here we dive deep into the realms of energy, consciousness, awareness, empowerment, and personal transformation to help you create a more vibrant and juicy life. Some of the tiniest humans come into this world and they need the fiercest type of love. That kind of love that holds space for birth and death. NICU nurses are the ones that carry that love. And today, I feel like I'm gonna cry. And today, you're gonna meet one of them. So welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, and I just want to say thank you so much, Ashlee, for being here.
Oh, Dee, thanks for asking me.
Yeah, so everybody, and you, Ash, I don't know if I told you this, you were like a show request.
No way.
Yeah.
From
because I
like
mentioned
what
you,
genre of...
so I talk about you on the podcast, like, my friend Ashlee, and somebody asked me to do a show about the NICU. Ooh. This is somebody who had a NICU baby.
How old was your friend's NICU baby?
My friend's NICU baby was 23 or 24 weeks. It was
She had an intense experience then.
Oh, yeah. He was in the NICU for months, 3 months.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I
can't
imagine.
So I kind of know some of these answers, but I'm excited because I want to hear, hear what you have to say.
Sure.
So did you always know that you wanted to work with babies, and why the NICU? Why the neonatal intensive care unit? The most intense form of care for babies?
Yeah, I definitely always wanted babies. There was no question in my mind. And nursing school you go through and you get to kind of dabble in every entity a little bit. You don't, get to see all of it. But I knew that from my minimal rotations where I was, the skill level in the NICU was what I needed for my own mental stimulation, number one. And number two, the amount of attention in the NICU that parents pay to you, that doctors pay to you, it's amazing. And all nursing is necessary. Every field we need nurses in every single one. But for me personally, parents want to listen to you. They want to learn from you. They are just leeching off of every single thing you say. And not all nursing is like that. A lot of people, in your podcast, you've said people come and they want you to fix them. And with a pill or something that's quick, something that's easy, and that's not life. And they really need education and understanding, and these NICU parents really want to do that. They are here to hear you, and they want the best for their little person. So I cultivate that and I facilitate that, and it's so cool. Every single day I get people that just can't wait to talk to me because they want to learn what's going on. You don't get that in every single field. And babies,
you are the person that is perfect for that job because of how personable you are and how there you are with them.
I will agree with you that it takes a certain personality to relate to people, first of all, in general in life, and then it takes an entirely different one to relate to people in the NICU. And I think I was good at it before I had kids, and now I have a completely 100% different depth of understanding of what they go through emotionally. I still have all the same knowledge that I had first, but now I understand it from a different place in my heart. So I can say things and understand it, how they're going to receive it in a totally different light. So I think that I've really brought motherhood and knowledge base and met right in the perfect middle ground.
Yeah, you're answering one of the questions on my list, which was how is becoming a mother, does it change the work, and how do you so you just deliver information differently?
Yeah, and I think, I also am just finishing breastfeeding, so there's that little tiny bit of hormone in me left, but I cry. I tear up with almost every conversation that I have, if it's in that degree and that level, which a lot of the times it is, especially with the micro preemies. And I can say things from a if I were in your shoes, it's no longer if I were in your shoes, I'm in your shoes. And though I have never had a NICU baby, so I can't live those shoes, I do live NICU every day. So I can very much grasp what mothers are going through because I see them go through it. I personally have not, but seeing them go through it and also being a mom, you can calculate those two. You can make that equation complete and really feel what they feel. And I think that every mother that I've talked to since I've had my own can feel that difference in how I deliver information, how I help them take care of their babies. And the wording I use in all of the situations, it's meant to take care of them too. I'm taking care of their baby, but I also take care of them too. It's not just a baby anymore. It's mom too.
Wow, that just feels so powerful. Yeah, that
can be.
I love tooting your horn. Like, I just feel like
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like it's such a powerful experience because you're caring for this little life that's like potentially on the edge of death, and being a mom yourself and then having to relate to everybody in the room, right? It's
Absolutely.
like so much.
It is. It really is.
Can you share a story of just maybe like a moment that shaped you, or like a story that you still carry with you?
Yeah, sure. I can picture one family, and I'll try and leave all the very specifics out of it and just go right to the conversation that I had with them. But they were going to experience an inevitable loss, and it was really just a matter of when they were ready. Mom and dad could not get on the same page of when that time was. And so I took care of this baby, one of them, day after day after day. And I had been off for 2 days, and I remember thinking, the babies won't be there. They won't be there. And I got in and they were, and the clinical picture was completely different from 2 days ago to now. And I remember the conversation I had with these parents, and I broke down crying. I was bawling. We, as parents, we try and give our children gifts. We give them our time. We give them our love, the basic needs, the necessities. And they give so little back in the beginning, and you're exhausted, and you are reaching for those moments that they can give you something. I said to these parents, your precious little babies have given you 7 beautiful days to give love, receive it, to show you the fight they had, and they have none left. This is it. And nobody should have to do what you have to do, but it's your turn to give them their last gift, which is peace, and let them rest. Give them the last gift that you have left to give. It's the hardest one, but I know you can give it. And they did. And that was one of like those pivotal days where I knew I'm doing the right thing. No one else could help these people through that. Mm-hmm. And I could that day. So those are 2 babies that I will never forget, and those parents I'll never forget. Mm. And I use them in my worst circumstances frequently as a reminder in my own head of what to say, when to say it, when to know when to say it. Those things you can't be taught. You have to learn it as you go. And they helped teach me that day. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, for some, I think we all are really petrified of death. And I myself have experienced death, like in the room when a loved one is passing away. And what really struck me about that experience is that it was so peaceful. Like, it was like almost like it was like really moving to see this peaceful transition. And I think we think a lot of times like death is super gnarly, and it is for some in some regards. But like, do you find that you see peaceful passings?
Every circumstance is different, and in the NICU you are meeting the hardest circumstances, especially when it comes to death. You might not be prepared. There might be conversations leading to it. And I wish I could say that I saw more peace than I do, but
It's very touch and go.
we know as parents that you are happy that your infant and your baby and your child is no longer suffering, but you are so devastated for your own self and your own experience. And so I find peace for the baby, but I know that those parents are not at peace yet in those moments. And sadly, this is one of the things that is really hard once that baby passes away and we do bereavement care. It's a rare instance that you see that family again. And you don't know how it feels for them a day later, a week later, a month later, and hopefully they do talk to someone and they get the support they need, but it won't ever be from me, and rightfully so. Like, I can't imagine wanting to talk to me, the last person that I was with when my baby passed away. That would be triggering. That would be traumatic in another way. So I wish I could say that I saw it more peacefully than I do, but I can't say that I do, sadly.
Well, they're so fresh, right? It's like,
yeah, I'm in that
hours.
moment. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Like, the gravity of that is like really intense. So what's the other side of the coin here? So, like, you see babies graduate from the NICU, and you may potentially even see babies maybe later down the road as like toddlers or children, or not at your work, but like in different circumstances. And like, what is the other side of the coin here of seeing a baby graduate the NICU?
Gosh, there is the other side of the coin, and it's as much as we need one side as much as the other, this side is the great side. And I still have NICU graduates that a few parents want to stay in touch on Facebook, and some of them you see in the drugstore, and immediately these parents, because you spent months with them, and it is such a treat to have them flash their pride and joy and also see that they, though it is obviously at their core memories, a memory of how their kid grew up, but it's gone. They are living real life now. They are away from the NICU life, and the little girl that you remember couldn't get off of the high flow nasal cannula and couldn't bottle for months is now playing soccer, and she's showing me a video of her scoring a goal. And she doesn't remember any of those things, but that's what I picture is the last things that baby couldn't hurdle over. And now they're literally kicking soccer goals. So
Wow.
It is so fun to see a parent in the community and have them glee about their success story.
Yeah. So how old is your oldest NICU baby?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this for 12 going on 13 years, but the ones that really touch me and I remember, like, I'll never forget my one, and again, I won't name names here, but she has to be going on 10 or 11, and I just love this family. They, are my spirit family, if I had a spirit family. And I mean, I haven't seen their daughter, but I do run into them every now and again, random place, and I will scream out my car window at seeing the dad. I'll be like, and he knows exactly who I am, and he waves at me, and we smile, and we exchange, and we do stay in touch on Facebook, and it's always a like and a heart and a happy birthday to their daughter, and that daughter she's my number one for remembering who was the first that really was a huge impact on me.
When you share in intensity in these moments with these parents, I'd imagine like yours is a face that they don't forget.
Yeah, they don't. And what's something else in our NICU that's special, and every NICU has their own way of making something special, and it's gotten a little less in the past few years because technology has really grown. But in my earlier NICU days, we would make name signs for our babies the day they were born, their birthday, their weight, their inches, and every milestone they would get for weight, 2, 3, 4, and so on until the day of discharge. And my creative side flourished here, making name signs for these babies. And a lot of parents that I see now, actually I have somebody that lives around the corner from me who had a NICU baby, and she will tell me, we still have your name sign hanging up in his bedroom, and I see them riding their bike, and he's got to be 6 or 7 now. And so I get to be that little special extra something. Even if it wasn't, the day that I was their NICU nurse, it was, they remember the name sign I made for them. Mm-hmm. So cool. And I remember some kids buy their name signs. Yeah, I remember that. His name was Dijon, and I wrote it on a hot dog, and or whatever it was. And so those are really special moments, maybe only specific to my NICU, that I cherish and I love. Again, we don't have much time for it these days, but
yeah. So potentially when you're working on a shift, you are really one-on-one, or like, I don't know how many babies do NICU nurses take care of? I mean, I imagine it would be like based on the case, right?
Yep. Every day is different. Lots of factors to play into that, but you can range from a one-on-one day to a one-on-4 day. A 4-day baby assignment is feeder grower.
Their needs are different.
Yes, very, very minimal needs. But on average, the consistent ratio is usually one or two babies in the ICU with any kind of moderate care, moderate to high level care.
So in these really intense days, like, how do you take care of yourself? Like, what do you do to, like, I'd imagine, like, your nervous system might be kind of fried after having these really potentially, scary things. I know as a trained nurse, it's not scary maybe to you, but your nervous system still is responding. So, like, what do you do?
Sure.
And you have 3 kids. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, it definitely changed in a way once I had my own kids, and you have your own worries at home, and you have to disconnect them and leave them at home so that you can give your all when you're at work the best you can. So during the day, we have hydration stations. I mean, water is essential throughout the day. The most basic need, you have to stay hydrated. And if you don't, you can tell quickly that you haven't drank or eaten anything all day long. So thankfully, I'm a snacker. I keep yourself hydrated and always have something that's easy to grab, because sometimes it's just not the day that you can go out for the 30-minute lunch break, but I can quickly go grab something and eat all day long. And I mean, this is nursing in general, but the girls I work with specifically, no one is going to leave you high and dry. So you sometimes don't even have to say, wow, I am struggling today is awful, and someone is always dropping what they're doing that is of less intensity so that they can come and help you and keep you afloat. And that is survival for that day. And from a more emotional standpoint, on those really tough days, everyone knows what you are going through, and they will respect that, man, Ashlee had a really hard week last week. Let's not give her the assignment that's even close to that. Let's shift her over to something that really is more of the other side of the coin. And sometimes that goes both ways. The other side of the coin can be really hard and taxing too. It can be really hard to come into a discharge day on a baby who, these parents are completely behind in terms of education, in terms of preparation, and you are helping to facilitate all of those things to make sure this baby gets to go home safely. And that can be its own version of stress, not as emotional, obviously, but our charge nurses and each other are really good at recognizing, they've had a couple days like that. Let's help her do this. Let's take over this task so she's not drowning.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you guys are a team.
Yeah.
And there's a really big sense of community at the NICU where, there's like recognition of the needs of the nurses as best they can, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean,
Right.
I've only been on one other unit, so I can't speak from truth, but I have to imagine that everyone is going to help you the best they can elsewhere, but I feel like the NICU has a special degree to supporting each other that maybe other places don't.
What do you wish every NICU parent knew about your flow of your day?
So I wish that they knew that the inner workings of laying out a unit and laying out assignments, is not up to me. I don't get to ever, I have a certain degree of request, but ultimately it's based on acuity of babies, the staff present, and who was here yesterday, who's going to be here tomorrow. There's a lot of pieces that play into who your nurse is today. So I would tell parents that if you see me here tomorrow and I took care of you today, there's nothing that you did that I did, and there's nothing that I can do today about changing that. You get another new nurse, and I know you maybe hoped that it was me today, and I wish that it could have been too, but you will still get amazing care, and just to be open to the fact that it's out of our control. If I had a discharge yesterday and now the 3 baby I had is a 2 baby that doesn't match up with the one they were hoping would get me back tomorrow, fortunately, you'll get a different nurse even though you were hoping to see me again. It's not anything that we can do differently, and we are trying our best to maintain consistency, but it doesn't work like that sometimes for the layout of the unit.
I'd imagine that because the parents are in such a heightened emotional state that like consistency of face and just like consistency does make some type of difference, but I know there's reasons for these things, right?
Exactly.
Like it's not just because.
It's not. It's not because we were trying to upset you today. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. It boils down to, other factors. And I guess I try and reframe it a lot of the times for parents that we're all trained the same way. And you might get something special from someone else that you didn't get from me. And keep your mind open to that possibility that you're going to get a totally different, new way of seeing it. Mm-hmm. And even if it isn't the best day like it was yesterday with me, you still might find a positive that you didn't expect to find.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel the energy of the NICU shift before the baby shifts? Like, do you have a sensation in your body of like things happening or things shifting, or like intuition, I guess I'll say? Do you ever feel intuition in the NICU?
I don't know if I'd coin the term intuition, but I do know what you're describing. And yes, I feel that. But I think it's more of experience. I can't coin it as intuition because I know so much about how A leads to B and B leads to C and all the different versions of that in terms of a clinical presentation. There's a little bit of predictability to what's going to happen through a baby's stay because you've done it for so long and you can see what's going to happen next before it does happen. So I dare say that my intuition more so comes from my experience of having seen it already. Mm-hmm. I don't often have a intuitive feeling that this is what's coming for you. Mm-hmm. I can see how your baby is, gentle example, bottling right now, and I can see that there is a possibility that you might not see your baby go home bottling. You might see your baby needing another form of feeding. And it's not my intuition, it's based on my experience.
I think that makes sense, but I could argue it the other way for you because I think that, like, it's both.
Think so?
Because I think that, your experience also like lives in your body. So like your body's also informing what's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like it is very much like a flow chart, I'm sure, in your mind of like, okay, if this, then, and then you have all your like possibilities of things.
Sure.
But I could see it both ways, but I don't do what you do, so.
I can relate to what you're saying on intuition in that category. Maybe my description of experience is more in reference to some of the bigger, heavier, taxing, like you said, algorithms of care. Mm-hmm. So, there's no way of knowing if your baby's going to latch the first time we try. There's no way of knowing the success rate of how they're going to bottle, but I usually can intuitively tell the parents are really there to give it their all in those instances, and you're generally going to see a slightly higher rate of success than maybe ones that don't want it as badly.
Mm-hmm.
So in that example, I can definitely say my intuition says, you're going to figure this out. I know you are, because you are here to figure it out. I can tell.
Right.
Versus someone who feels maybe pushed into it and really doesn't have the drive to do it in the first place.
What are the predominating emotions in the NICU? So like, is it fear? Mostly not for the nurses, obviously, but like, what's like the feel of it from like
Sadly,
a zoomed out perspective?
I think the biggest one is loss of control.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not for me, it's not fear, sadness. It's seeing people lose the control of their first day with their brand newborn baby. It's loss of control of how we're going to feed it, what we're going to feed it, when we're going to feed it. I wasn't there for the first one. Starting an IV. Yeah.
Why do you think people have such discomfort around loss of control?
Well,
these are like unanswerable questions.
That's a loaded question.
But I'm curious your viewpoint on it because you see it so frequently.
Yeah, I think that loss of control is not taught. You can't teach someone to
soften into.
Yep. Yeah, you can't teach somebody to accept as soon as they hear it. I mean, let's go all the way down to being a toddler. You know, we all have little toddlers in ourselves psychologically, and your little toddler has to hear, you can't have the juice right now. In smallest degree, like you want to explode, you want the juice box so bad, and there is no. At toddler stage, you haven't learned how to cope with, I don't get the juice. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? No parent, A, especially if it's a first-time parent, but B, no parent gets a handbook before baby shows up about how to cope with loss of control with their child. And this is on a magnified level. You know, this is no longer, Dad didn't put the diaper on the way that I would have. These doctors, these nurses are doing and telling me I can't do this.
Hold my baby. I can't.
Yeah, unfortunately, if medically necessary, they can't hold them yet. There's no, here's your handbook, read it quick before you head upstairs. There's no pamphlet on how to come up there and be okay with losing control and grieving the norm. They don't get the norm. And they immediately don't get the norm. That's really hard. You have to be a special nurse, and we all are in the NICU, thankfully, soften to their, lack of a better word, their toddler moment, their inability to cope with. Yeah, their discomforts. They've never been there, nor why would they have been? It's a rare instance where you have a parent who's had multiples in the NICU. So you have to accept that there's going to be a degree of helping them learn to cope and teaching them those skills too.
I think every person and every adult is like grapples with loss of control. And like the discomforts, me too. And the discomforts associated with not knowing and like the unknown, right? And so what you're saying is it's just really magnified in the NICU.
Because parenting already is hugely the unknown.
For sure.
Huge. Every single morning. And now let's change it completely and go to the drastic side of things. You just don't know if your baby is going to make it out of there in a car seat with you. Right. You don't know if they're, let's take it a step down. You don't know if they're going to make it out with you being able to do all daily activities. You don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, because they had, a small brain bleed when they were born, and you don't know what that's going to mean. Those are all instances of loss of control, and some where you have to learn to cope with it until you get a little bit of that control back. And so I kudos these parents every single day, because I struggle with my own basic days of control. I can't imagine what they handle every single day.
So is your thought that when a parent is struggling with loss of control, is it the information that they're receiving that helps with that? Or like, how do you, because I'm just curious how that feels for you.
It is, and that relates to my first answer, which is that okay, they don't have control now, and how do we gain just a small ounce of it? Our knowledge, our understanding, and I get to cultivate that, and I can see a lot of times the boil down that I can bring to a parent at the bedside. I'm never going to come at you and say, you can't do this without a full explanation and understanding of the why behind it. And I think that is huge and so important in giving them coping skills. And another big part of the NICU nurse is knowing when to validate your family's struggles. So reading it on their face in the moment that I'm talking to them and just leveling and saying, I know everything I'm saying today is really hard to hear. And I just want you to know that nobody expects you to handle it well or with a brave face. So if you need to cry, because I can see that you are on the edge of that right now, please do so, and I'll cry with you, because this is terrible information, or it's maybe not terrible, but it's just not what you wanted to hear. And letting them know that all of that is really okay to feel, and feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we often like shove it. But in those really heightened situations, I'm sure it's really moving to be validated. It reminds me of like gentle parenting in a way, where I think gentle parenting actually gets a bad rap, rap. But like you're almost being like, I can see, like, you're like, I can see you're upset.
Yeah.
And then, the rest of the sentence.
So true. I'll say I try. My husband and I try and gentle parent the best we can. And it is so factual to validate someone's feeling and then help them to identify a coping mechanism after it. It is the basic psychology of a toddler, honestly, and it carries all the way into adulthood. I still ask for it from friends, from Anthony, my husband, and it helps. And I think it helps parents in the NICU the same way.
Yeah, so these skills are like they're like transferable skills for life.
Yes. Oh yes. So I'm going to bring her name into this, Dr. Becky.
Love Dr. Becky.
I live her. I love her. God. And the things that she says, I carry it from my kids all the way into my work, because I think it is applicable in multiple facets of life.
Thank God, Dr. Becky.
Thank you.
Right?
My husband would be, eyes are twitching.
Oh, he doesn't like Dr.
Well, some of her things he likes less than others. Oh. And my kids, I use all of her little
like her techniques.
Her techniques, and I use her one-liners, that's what I'll call them. And my kids use them too. And my kids will repeat something and he'll look at me and he'll say, they're saying that. And he's losing. I go, but that's so good. They're hearing me. They are hearing me. It is working. It's helping. God. And then other things, I will agree. We take what we think is useful and throw the rest out the window.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
So what gives you hope? Like why do you keep showing up?
Another loaded one. Yeah. I keep showing up because this work stimulates me in my heart and in my brain. It challenges me every day. I like to be challenged. And as of late, the last 5 years that I've had my own kids, it brings me a new sense of joy to offer parents nursing care that comes from my heart versus my knowledge and my brain. So again, I get to emotionally connect with them and offer them something deeper that I couldn't offer 5 years ago. And I was good at it 5 years ago, and I'm still good at it, but on a totally different level emotionally.
You know what I just thought of, and what I find fascinating is that I feel like women for a lot of times are like told to kind of shove it in terms of like, oh, you have kids at home, like nobody cares about that, like nobody wants to know that, right? And it's like, just do your job. Like, but what you're saying is becoming a mother almost like transcends the way that you're able to do your work in a way that makes it, that like amplifies it, And I'd like to think in 2025 that we no longer have those viewpoints of the patriarchy telling women, like, just do your job or nobody cares that you're a mom or whatever, whatever. But I just feel like, wow, what a strength it is to have those lived experiences and to be able to show up in this space for these people in a way that's really heart-led.
I agree. Tapping lightly to the way that it was and the way that it is now, I love that it's welcomed to bring my personal experience to work and to be open about how hard it is with people who are experiencing exactly how hard it is. And I'm relating to, some of your previous podcasts, even all the way to the birth. Like I'm at the baby end of it, but I even get to talk to these moms about their births and share mine and connect with them that way, which makes it all the more easy for them to trust me with their babies when they're not there, because we are sharing such intimate parts of our lives in motherhood and parenthood. I'm fortunate that I work in the place that I do, that having something to bring to the table that they can relate to actually just makes their day that much easier, and mine too, because I get to share my experience and think about my lovely children.
Yeah.
When I'm not with them.
So is there a piece of advice that you catch yourself saying over and over to NICU parents? Or that you, like, what do you say frequently that you're like on repeat in certain regards?
Yeah, I do. You see a parent when they walk in and you know exactly what they want to hear. Today is a good day. We're having a good day. Using those vague terms, good and bad day, really no-nos for me in my book, unless I am very sure that we are having a good day. But on those real micro preemies, good and bad days don't exist to me. There is a day that I can meet your baby's needs. It might be more needs than it was yesterday, and that's hard to hear, but it doesn't mean your baby's having a bad day. And in the same sense, today we will have less vent support, we have a better respiratory rate, we aren't having as many spells, just a couple small examples. That doesn't mean that today is necessarily a good day either. It just means that we are meeting your baby's needs today. And so that's how I frame, how I describe a baby's day, is that I am content with where we're at in your baby's care today because we can meet their needs. When I have to tell you that we cannot meet your baby's needs today, then I'm worried personally. So that's how I frame it. And that's how I would like parents of NICU babies to come in and think about their baby's care. Don't frame it in a, gosh, I need every day to be a good day, because this journey is so many ups and downs, and it is such a roller coaster, and you will take one step forward to take 10 steps back in the NICU, but you will take them forward again. So take your mindset away from today was a bad day. We did not do good.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah. And we met your baby's needs. It was more needs than yesterday, but we still met them and we gave them what they needed to get through today. So that's my take.
Is that how the NICU doctors communicate as well?
Not everybody communicates the same way. I love to listen to our doctors share the plan of care for their patients, because I learn so much from them, and I take the pieces that I need and apply them where I can and when I need to. Overall is that they deliver information as best they can in a non-emotional way. Like, they have a way of being appropriate, bedside manner, and some are obviously better than others. You are always going to find your favorite doctor and the one you like the least. That's just human nature to pick favorites. And if you don't, kudos to you. That's fantastic. And you should try your best to remain as neutral as possible, because they're all there to deliver excellent care. With that being said, some of them, really are there to deliver the medical information, and others have a gentler way of explaining and offering. But to put it blatant. They don't sugarcoat. They lay out what they think is necessary in the moments that they're talking to you. You know, do I sometimes wish that you didn't have to hear the hard truths that they speak? I do wish that. But if they didn't offer that to you, you wouldn't have the full picture. And that's important in making medically necessary decisions. Yeah. So it's not easy to hear them talk, but that is the difference between sometimes the nurse and the doctor is it's not always my responsibility to give you the full captured picture. I am a tool, but I know my scope, and it's not my job to help you through those harder medical decisions. I can educate, but they are the ones that are going to provide like what could happen, what can happen. These are the different avenues that you need to take. These are the risks. Because I'm not medically trained, you know, in that way. But after they've had that conversation and I've heard it, I can offer you support to understand maybe some of the blanks that you missed or you forgot when they talk. But that's what they're there for, is sometimes the hard truths.
Yeah. In the NICU, you see the worst case scenarios in a lot of times. Do you think that the NICU, because there's worst case scenarios, you then are trained to always be looking for worst case? And does that transcend like your life? Like, how do you hold it?
I think that in a general capacity, everyday life, no. It does not affect me to know what I know and go day to day to day. But when it did affect me, or when it does affect me, is when friends are pregnant, when I was pregnant, when it actually directly relates to the knowledge I have. It can be hard to remember that what I see is a small percentage of what happens. And the vast majority of what does happen is quote unquote normal, and separating those two can be really hard. And I know from my own experience it was really hard in my pregnancies because I know all the coulds, and it sometimes, now looking back, prevented me from a more natural, no, I don't think I need that, take on certain things. So my own personal experience, yes, it did. And that's hard. I don't want to say it's sad, because I'm obviously happy we got to the same side of the fence just the same way, but I would have changed, you know, if I could have X, Y, or Z here and there. But ultimately it would have ended the same. It just would have maybe changed some of the...
So you're saying like you have made decisions for yourself that were based on possibly the experience of seeing the worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
And that just makes sense to me, though, why that would be.
Yeah, it does. You're calculating the best you know how.
Exactly.
So sometimes I wish, you know, ignorance was bliss.
Right.
But it just, for my own personal, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It couldn't be. How could it be?
Right. So we talked about some pretty like heavy concepts, and I realized that I never asked you what your good is. And so I have to know, what is your good? And do you know what I'm saying when I'm asking that?
Well, let's make sure that I know. I think I do.
Your good is like the things that light you up, that are not materialistic, that are like in your body, you feel a sense of aliveness. Like it makes you feel whole or complete. And it could be anything. But I usually say, the phrase that I usually say is, what is the sense felt shit that lights you the fuck up?
So it's a loaded question, because I get those sense felt moments in motherhood separate from if I think about how I get them when I'm by myself. So if I think about, you know, the things that light me up, it's the random I love yous that I get from my kids in the weirdest places. I mean, my son's pooping on the toilet this morning, and he popped his head around and said, I love you, Mommy. Love you too, bud. Don't forget to wipe. It made me so happy that in his moment, he just wanted to share his love. Now, you know, if I pick a moment that is just my own good, it's a good gardening sesh outside. It's a good DIY project. Yeah. It's creativity. It's flaring up make something beautiful than it was before I started. That's my good. And maybe that's the same thing for me in motherhood, is I'm making this loving, caring person a little more loving and caring than they were from yesterday, and that's how they're showing me that they are. So yeah, it's seeing like the small moments in my kids and then the small moments that I create. Those are my goods.
Yeah, I think about that too, how that transcends into your work as well. It's like trying to find beauty in places and create beautiful things. And you're such a great crafter. And like all of your stuff, like for your wedding and stuff, oh my God, you DIY'd literally everything for your wedding. It was like wild and amazing.
Also because I'm cheap.
Yeah, but you did it so like you could literally run a business doing it.
I appreciate that. I would like to think that I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. But I like that. I like knowing that I can do anything myself and I don't have to do it all the time. I just try it once and see if you can do it. And I usually can. Yeah. And there's a rare thing that I would just prefer not to do.
Yeah.
For me, it's cooking. I can do it. I don't.
Yeah. You prefer to just drive by like an old bench on the side of the road and be like, oh, I can refinish that. And
yes.
I can
pick it up. Pull over.
Yes.
And Anthony's exactly. Like, you are kidding me right now. Really, you're kidding. And I was like, really, I'm not kidding.
Really, I'm not. Watch me turn this thing into
masterpiece. You're speaking my truth right now. Last night I was laying in bed thinking about how I could take a full-sized head frame board, like back of bed, and make a day bed for Ellie out of it.
Ooh.
Instead of just buying the one that's already made.
Do you have a spare like headboard? You were trying to just...
Yeah, yep. And it's, beautiful antique-esque, we'll call it. And it would be perfect if it was painted white. And who am I? I have 3 small children and also
I know you can do that though.
Where am I squeezing that? Where am I squeezing that?
True.
In the timeline, that's my problem.
But it's a decision that you could make because I know you could do it.
And I would love to, and I want to. Yeah. So that's what I went to bed DIYing last night was how can I make a bed out of a headboard?
And your flowers, your flower arrangements.
Yes. That's another skill that I would just love and could see loving that.
I am taking this for acupuncture. I have to take CEU credits, courses. So I have to take 60 credits every 4 years, which is actually kind of a lot.
That's a lot.
And I'm taking this one about alchemical healing, and it talks a lot about flower essences and how you use flowers for healing. And I'm literally, my eyes are like this big the whole time I'm listening to this. Did you know? And this is really random. The way that you make a flower essence is
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah. So you pick apart the flower, right? Like all the petals and all the pieces, and you put it in a basin, like a crystal or a glass basin with water. You put it outside in the sun, and the sun basically infuses, it takes the essence of the flower.
Okay.
And the sun potentiates that process.
Okay.
And then you leave it out there for a length of time. I don't know how long. And then you strain it out, and the water is the flower essence. And it actually takes the medicinal qualities of those flowers, and they can be really powerful. Have you ever heard of there's a...
Is this like making rose water, literally? Like when, when we spray...
Yes.
Tone or facial toner, and it says it's rose water.
There's a company called Bach, I think it is. It's flower essences that you can buy. There's Rescue Remedy. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's literally just flower essences that you take internally. You can either spray it in your mouth or you can put a tiny bit on your tongue. And it is medicinal. The Rescue Remedy is for nervous system downregulation.
Interesting.
And I'm flowers, I don't know. I think that I love flowers for many reasons. The way that they shift.
So do these flowers have to be fresh?
Yeah.
Okay, so it can't be I finished my bouquet and now I'm going to take the flowers out of the bouquet even though they're dying?
No, you pick them at their peak.
Okay.
They're peak flowers, and
Got
then
it.
that's how you make the strongest flower essences.
Okay.
But anyway, I don't know. I just think that there's medicine in all of our living
It's
things.
so true. Yes.
Well, shit, Ash.
I know. I'm so happy to do this with you.
You know, for people who don't know, Ash and I went to school together at the University of Buffalo, and we met through club volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Many
were
moons ago.
awesome, and I was just okay. And you came on, and you were fiery in all the ways, from the red hair down to your personality. And what's not to love? I mean,
Thanks, girl.
and I mean, watching you do these podcasts is such a treat for me, because I can see and feel how much they good light you up.
Yes. I just think it's so fun to talk to people and to hear what they have to say. Like, there's so many amazing things that we can take from like people's experiences and just apply them, apply them to our life. And it's a joy. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
This is so great.
It was awesome.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next episode.